Visual Studio 2008 is full of new features and enhancements that make designing and implementing applications a snap. Some of these features may not be intuitive or easy to find. In this chapter, we'll review some handy tips to enhance your user experience and to customize your environment. Let's begin by opening up Visual Studio 2008. We'll create a sample Windows Forms project just so we can show you the variety of options. Select File, New, Project. Select C# as the application language of choice, select Windows Forms application, and select OK. Let's focus on some handy tips to customize your environment. One of the most useful features is the ability for Visual Studio to remember the environment settings, which was once known as profiles in Visual Studio 2005. For example, let's say I want to use a set of code snippets with one particular application, but not another. You can load and unload these snippets to and from your toolbox and other environment settings using the tool's ImportExport Settings feature. Your exported file will be stored with a VS settings suffix. You can even move these settings from one machine to another. In order to understand this, let's give it a try. First, we'll need to customize our environment to some degree by creating a new tab, adding a few snippets of code to it. Double-click on the form to get inside the code behind. Another added productivity feature is the snippet database. To access this, you can right-click and say Insert Snippet. Depending on the language you're using, the Snippet Manager will pull up the appropriate category that you can choose from. For example, if I wanted to do Office development, I can choose from Office development, Excel, Office, or Word-related snippets. Inside that, I might choose Formatting. There I can go ahead and bold a range, create table, highlight a range, and by selecting one of these snippets, it will automatically populate the relevant code for me to work with. Anything that I need to customize, for example, the color of the highlight, will be highlighted in green for me, and there I can choose to replace that value with a custom value. You'll notice that the tooltip will also pop up, prompting me for the appropriate selection. In this case, it's prompting me to replace with the highlight color for the range. Let's take this snippet, highlight it, and drag it over to our toolbox. This is another feature of Visual Studio 2008, the ability to drag and drop code components to and from your toolbox. If I right-click on this code snippet, I can choose to rename it. By default, it uses the actual code as a name. Let's call it something more intuitive. Highlight color. This is useful when I want to reuse little bits of code to and from my application. Let's work with another snippet. Right-click, select Insert Snippet. Select Visual C#, and scroll down until you see the try. This will actually add a try-catch handler for me, highlighting the exception object as a prompt. If I want, I can leave this as is. I can customize this by adding a variable to capture that exception. On the catch, I can decide to implement some logic. In the try, I might want to customize this. Let's say I wrote a significant amount of code, writing to the event log, or taking some kind of action that's consistent between all my different functionalities. And let's say I want to go ahead and reuse this customized catch block. All I have to do is go ahead and drag it to my toolbox, right-click, give it a name, type in custom try-catch. And now I have the ability to drag and drop and reuse this. I can even go ahead and add a tab to my toolbox. Let's give it a name, Custom Code Snippets, and I can also drag and drop code elements into a custom tab. By hovering my mouse over this, you can see that the actual code is popped up, and I can also choose to rename it here as well. So now that my environment is customized, let's go ahead and delete the code and save all our changes.